Hello guys! Welcome back to Lindsay Cruz Show. I am Lindsay Cruz from Whole Cuisine. We're a nutrition counseling company based out of Austin, Texas. And today I want to go over with you a little bit about micronutrient testing. Why is it so important and how does it play a role in a specific case study that I'll go over with you today. The biggest thing that we do here at Whole Cuisine is really just going into a whole new aspect of health and health coaching, much different than you would see in a conventional style clinic. We're looking a lot more at functional nutrition, optimal ways to increase our body's performance, and of course, just feeling overall happier, healthier, being able to bust through weight loss plateaus. I myself have lost over 30 pounds from taking this test. I continue to lose. I'm training for a really big event that I'll be doing this upcoming year, so I'll talk more about that. But in doing so, I need to make sure that my body is at its prime, and so it's important to know all the details of how our body talks to us, and that's why micronutrient testing is so important. Micronutrient testing is really taking an approach of optimal nutrition, not just settling for getting by with our health, but it's for those who really want to make an impact on their quality of life and shift from just going about their health to truly healing and discovering their body's unique story, how to improve it, and of course living at our best. That's what we all deserve. Not to live, taking medications. Of course, sometimes we have to do that, but we should be constantly striving to make a change to shift away from that kind of medicine in order to function properly. Medications always have side effects, whether or not they're showing in signs and symptoms, they are affecting your body. And so although it's important to have them on board, we want to see and take advantage of as much as we can in order to improve that and kind of take control of our health. So my clients who do this, I do a lot of these tests, and really they don't need to be convinced of functional science or preventative medicine. And in fact, if you don't believe in that, then this video probably isn't right for you. So you may want to jump off now if you're not interested in functional stuff. But I do a lot of preventative nutrition, and it's really about applying the most up-to-date functional knowledge and putting it into practical use. So a lot of times I will recommend supplements. I will recommend, of course, a proper and personalized dietary food style and the choices that we should be making to impact efficiencies and help support the body to the utmost capacity. So, we're going to talk about how functional nutrition is used during diagnostic testing to skyrocket our health. That's what I believe in. That's what I followed in my own life. We need to skyrocket our health, not just get to where we feel comfortable, not just get to where we don't feel as much pain. We should be skyrocketing our health. So let's go ahead and jump on in here today. I've got a case study with a male. I'm not going to go too much into his story, but just know that it is male. That'll help us put this together a little bit better. And so what we've got here, first test is his hormone labs. And so we want to look at hormones. Sometimes I also do a thyroid. We can also do a cardiovascular exam. And so we want to look at these. These are all subclinical factors that help us determine how his body is functioning and what we can do to correct it. So one of the first things that we see here is the free testosterone. That's kind of the biggest thing that jumps out to me as I start scanning through. That one is in the tank, okay? It's super low. If he continues with zero free testosterone, he's going to be putting himself at risk for cardiovascular risk factors. Obviously, a loss of muscle mass. We need testosterone in order to keep that really clean, heavy muscle mass on. And so this needs to be increased. We can do this with exercise and supplying adequate DHEA. But right now, we can see that his DHEA is also extremely low. And so something tells me here, and of course we'll probably learn more about this from the micronutrient standpoint, but something is telling me that he's got some sort of issues with either adrenal stress or something going on that's causing this DHEA to be low, and in turn we need DHEA to produce this free testosterone. And we also need it to produce estrogen and so on and so forth. So it's something that we'll kind of look at as we get into the micronutrient part of this. The next thing is the prolactin. So this is a hormone. Maybe you've heard about it, obviously in women. But it's produced from the anterior pituitary gland. It's in normal range, but for some reason, it's definitely showing that it's being stimulated. Possibly, we didn't run a thyroid, but possibly his TSH in the pituitary would be elevated, and so we would see that definitely there's some issues with that anterior pituitary gland being stimulated, and so we would be able to talk about that. So overall, the DHEA and overall testosterone, like I said, is in the tank. So most likely, are his adrenals under incredible stress? That's the biggest question we want to ask. And if they are, why are they under so much stress? Okay, is he eating too much fast food? Does he have some glycated hemoglobin? Abnormal pathogens running around in the GI tract? And if this were the case, most likely he'd be experiencing gas and bloating, and that would be a big issue. And actually that is. And so we'll talk about that here shortly. But overall, that's kind of telling us a little bit about the picture. So most likely he's not able to work out very much, and he's got some pretty big risk factors going on for stress. So pretty interesting story there. So next we move on to micronutrient test. So this is going to be running over 31 different vitamins, minerals. We've even got some antioxidants, metabolism factors on here. And so we're able to really start piecing the picture together. And you can see, he's got a lot of sprinkled borderline things, but definitely some pretty heavy-duty deficiencies that we'll want to address. And so let's go ahead and jump in. First one I see, based on kind of connecting this stuff up there by the hormones down into the micronutrient, is the manganese. And so manganese is an important element for human health. It's essential for our development and metabolism, and of course the antioxidant system. The human body contains about 12 milligrams of manganese. It's mostly in the bones, and some of it is even housed in the liver and kidneys. These play a large role in detoxifying our body, and therefore many antioxidants and mineral compounds are also housed in these organs as well. And so manganese is borderline. Most likely there's some issue with glyphosate herbicides. And so glyphosate herbicides are found in all non-organic foods, okay? Beef, corn, soy, various processed foods. They kill off our good probiotics. So we hear about this all the time. We've got the GI tract and, everything that's supposed to be in our intestines, our small intestine, of course, our large intestine. We don't want to have an overgrowth of abnormal pathogens because they will prevent other things from happening. So in instance, most likely it's the reason for his K2 being extremely low. They prohibit K1 from converting over into K2. And so this is really telling an interesting story about that. The next big thing in the minerals category is copper. And so he's got an ultra low copper reading as well as abnormal glucose-insulin interaction. And so most importantly to note between these two is that it's indicating a candida overgrowth. And so even for males, although we think a lot, this would be an issue for females, it's actually possible. Could also be possible for E. coli. So not the really dangerous one we think about as consuming, but we can actually have E. coli in our lower portion of the gut and not really be harming us from a acute, severe case. But we don't want it to be overgrown and have this kind of pathogen overtaking our good probiotic bacteria. So between the two of those, that would indicate this whole issue of candida possibly being overgrown. And so what ends up happening, and why this tells a little bit about that story, is that candida produces acetaldehyde. And so that blocks the pancreas from being able to produce insulin. And so that's a big reason why this could be happening here. And so the next step in looking at all this is, of course, now we can start determining what kind of diet does he need to be on. You don't just go into an office, you don't just go into the surgeon's office and you've got a broken arm and you say, Doc, we got to fix my arm, and you've never even taken an x-ray, right? And that's what we do so many times. We get on keto coffees and supplements and all kinds of powders and juices and detoxes, and we don't even know what's going on in our body. And so we're getting on all of this stuff. We're totally overloading our biological chemistry without even having any answers to start with. And so we need to have a starting point. And so now that we've done a little bit of homework here, that's when I get into, hey, how are carbohydrates making you feel when you eat them? Are you having gas, bloating? I want to determine, based on these two factors here, is this actually an issue with Candida possibly? And so, of course, he does have a big issue, and he's constantly getting gas and bloating and all of the effects that would kind of lead to that. And so from there, we'd want to most likely just do one last double check. And so we had him go to Great Plains Lab, do a urine test, and check that out. And then from there, okay, great, it's positive for Candida. Let's go ahead and get on like a Candida cleanse. You can go on it for 2 weeks, go off of it for 2 weeks, so on and so forth until you're able to get those spores in there and control the pathogen. And so that's really, really helpful. Okay, so the next one is looking at CoQ10. So coenzyme Q10, super important in the body. It's really hard by the time we're 50, 55. We don't produce it as much. And in fact, we have a lot more significantly lower levels of ubiquinol. And so this is the active form of CoQ10. What you get from correcting this subclinical deficiency is an increased amount of energy, like crazy energy. You're like, whoa, where did this come from? I'm 50. I didn't even know I could feel this way anymore. And so the reason why is your electron transport chain, that's the thing that gives all of us energy, cannot function without CoQ10. It's impossible. And so when this one is really low, and then he's got super low testosterone, and we're telling him to go to the gym, and he's like, but I can't, I'm exhausted, and there's no way that I can make it there. Sound of the gym is exhausting to even say. We'd want to kind of help support that, and so get a straight-on ubiquinol on board for his supplements, and of course monitor that and see how he feels. So really cool kind of discovery there. The next thing is his Antioxidant Immuno Dex. And so this is kind of telling us how the lymphocytes respond to oxidative stress. Could be due to low CoQ10 and low ALA. So these are all the antioxidant factors that are low here in this category for him. Or also could be due to heavy metals blocking the absorption. And so we could even run a heavy metals test on him to kind of think about that as a possibility. But really, we got on ubiquinol, and actually he's feeling great. So, again, you could go crazy with all the things you can discover about your body, but it's great to just start making changes and start getting some things moving. And then, as time goes on, if we still are seeing issues and, we need to take it to the next level, then of course we could go on to the next protocol for that. So, okay, oleic acid. Let's look at this one. You can see up here the fatty acids. This is also another one that's deficient in his category. And this is considered omega-9s. So you've got like omega-3s, omega-6s. These are essential fatty acids. We need them for proper brain function, for proper neuron function. Without them, you're going to feel depression, you're going to feel anxiety, you're going to have issues with staying alert. And then, of course, you can even have issues with like coordination and things like that if you're low in omega-3s. And so the best way to kind of like heavy load this and bring up that oleic acid is to add a fish oil with an olive leaf extract. So that helps your body absorb this oleic acid much better and much more efficiently. And so that's a really important thing to do there. And so overall, lastly would be these B vitamins up here. These are not too low, but there's a few really important ones that are borderline. B6 is a precursor and kind of connected to folate, and both of those are kind of on the fence. So maybe we think about doing a B complex. Otherwise, honestly, what I did with him was we got on a really clean multivitamin. He's got to take 6 capsules a day, not on top of We've also made some adjustments to his diet. And so this is going to help really collectively make some really nice repletion here for everything. And then, of course, some little single supplements that we add on separately. So anyway, super interesting. And there you have it, a way to improve your health beyond just the average clinic visit. And, I've done a lot of these tests. I've taken this test myself. And if you've been following me, you've probably seen all the weight loss I've achieved from applying these really proactive principles. And like I said, I am doing some training, going to be doing a big event this upcoming year in 2019. So I'll be sharing more about that, but it's important, I have to put my health at the forefront. And, I really want to just keep sharing that with people because our health is one of the only things we have. And there's so much availability for us to not only just feel good, but feel our best. And when we feel our best, we can extend that to others. We can, take our limits further than we've ever thought possible. So I just want to share that with you guys. I hope you learned something today. Of course, if you do have questions, feel free to comment below. You can like, share, tag your friends if you think they need to think about taking this test. And stay tuned as I continue to work on some case studies and share more info with you guys. But have a wonderful day. And Lindsay Cruz here, signing off from Whole Cuisine out of Austin. I hope you guys enjoy, and we'll chat soon.